If you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist or observed one from the sidelines, you might have noticed something strange. A narcissist, despite their seeming arrogance and self-absorption, might actually fear losing you more than anything else. It's a paradox that's often difficult to understand. After all, they don't seem to care about anyone other than themselves, right? But here's the truth. Narcissists fear being abandoned, and paradoxically, that fear can be a massive weakness. In fact, it might be the most powerful lever you have in understanding their behavior. Let's dive into this fascinating dynamic and uncover why you, of all people, might be the narcissist's biggest fear and their greatest obsession. In this discussion, we'll explore the core motivations behind narcissistic personalities, why they fear losing people, and how this fear can reveal their vulnerabilities in ways you've never considered before. Keep reading, because what you're about to discover could change the way you view narcissistic behavior forever. Narcissists operate from a place of insecurity, but it's often hidden beneath layers of self-love and grandiosity. At first glance, they may seem like they have everything under control. They come across as confident, self-assured, even indestructible. But scratch beneath the surface, and you'll uncover a much deeper and far more fragile psyche. Their need to appear perfect and superior is actually a defense mechanism designed to protect themselves from the crippling fear of being exposed as weak or flawed. This fear of being found out, of being less than perfect, is a constant gnawing presence in their lives. And that's where you come in. If you've ever found yourself at the center of a narcissist's attention, you may have experienced moments where their focus felt unnervingly intense. It's because they see you as something that could validate or invalidate their very existence. You are the one who can either affirm their inflated self-worth or expose their vulnerabilities. For this reason, they will go to extreme lengths to control you, keep you close, and avoid losing you at all costs. Let's explore why you, of all people, might be the narcissist's greatest fear and obsession. In this article, we'll examine the key drivers behind narcissistic behavior, the deep-rooted fear they have of losing those around them, and how that fear can expose their weaknesses in ways you might not have noticed before. Keep reading, because what you're about to learn may completely reshape your understanding of narcissism. Narcissists tend to function from a place of insecurity, but it is often masked by an outward display of self-admiration and grandeur. On the surface, they may appear as if they have it all together, confident, self-assured, even invincible. However, once you look closer, you'll reveal a more delicate and fragile psyche beneath. Their relentless need to seem flawless and superior serves as a defense mechanism, shielding them from the deep-seated fear of being seen as vulnerable or flawed. This constant fear of exposure is ever present, and it's in this fear that you play a significant role. If you've ever been the focal point of a narcissist's attention, you may have felt the unsettling intensity of their gaze. That's because, to them, you hold the power to either validate or threaten their very sense of self-worth. You are the one who can either reinforce their inflated ego or reveal the cracks in their facade. As a result, they will go to great lengths to control you, keep you close, and make sure they never risk losing you. You might wonder, if they don't care about anyone else, why would they fear losing you? It all comes down to one simple fact. Narcissists need an audience. They thrive on admiration and validation, and without someone like you to feed their ego, they feel empty and insignificant. This emptiness is a terrifying prospect for them. While narcissists might project an image of independence, at their core, they depend on others to sustain their inflated sense of self. Losing you, someone who supports their worldview, who provides the validation they crave, would be devastating. They would lose a piece of themselves in the process, and that's a terrifying thought. You might also notice that narcissists tend to exhibit certain behaviors that stem from this fear of losing control over their relationships. One of the most insidious behaviors is gaslighting, where they manipulate you into doubting your own perceptions, memories, and even reality. This technique, while painful and confusing, is all about maintaining dominance and control. Narcissists want you to feel like you can't trust yourself, which makes it harder for you to break free from their grip. They need to keep you confused and insecure, because as long as you're uncertain of yourself, you're more likely to stay in the relationship and continue feeding their ego. But the fear of abandonment can also manifest in more subtle ways. For instance, narcissists might use intermittent reinforcement, where they give you just enough attention, praise, or affection to keep you hooked, but never enough to fully satisfy your emotional needs. This strategy keeps you chasing after their approval, never fully knowing when they will give it to you again. It's a psychological game that leaves you questioning your own value while making the narcissist feel in control. Interestingly, the narcissist's fear of losing you isn't always expressed directly. Often, it shows up in their actions rather than their words. You might notice them becoming more possessive, more controlling, or even more critical of you as time goes on. These behaviors are not a reflection of your worth, but a projection of their own insecurities. The more they fear losing you, the more they will try to manipulate the situation to their advantage. They need you to feel dependent on them, and they will stop at nothing to make sure you stay in their orbit. At the same time, narcissists are known to devalue the very people they once idealized. When they feel threatened or insecure, they may resort to belittling you or diminishing your importance in their lives. This is a defense mechanism, one that serves to protect their fragile ego from the pain of losing control. By making you feel small, they create an emotional distance between you and them, which makes it easier for them to reassert dominance and prevent you from walking away. But here's the catch. The narcissist's fear of losing you can also be their downfall. Their need for control and validation creates an unhealthy dynamic that's destined to implode at some point. While they might think they're invincible, their constant manipulation and emotional games take a toll on their relationships over time. The more they push you away. Eventually, the very thing they fear most, the loss of you, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's where you, as the person at the center of this dynamic, can find your power. Understanding the narcissist's secret fear of losing you is the key to breaking free from their grasp. The narcissist's need for validation and control is not infinite. It's exhausting, both for them and for you. Once you recognize this, you can begin to set boundaries and take control of your own emotional well-being. You don't have to be the object of their obsession or the person who keeps them afloat. You have the strength to break free from this toxic cycle. In the end, the narcissist's fear of losing you reveals a lot about their true nature. Behind all the bravado and self-importance is someone who is deeply insecure, someone who cannot stand the idea of being alone or unimportant. And while they might try to make you feel like you're nothing without them, the truth is that they are nothing without you. You are their weakness, their vulnerability, and their greatest fear. And once you realize that, you can begin to reclaim your power. Thank you for joining me today as we unpack the secret fears and insecurities that drive narcissistic behavior. If you found this discussion insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps spread this important message and helps others understand the complexities of narcissistic relationships. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember, you are not their weakness, you are your own strength.